Hello everybody and welcome back to the Finding Your Feet podcast. I'm Abby.
And I'm Grace.
And this podcast is dedicated to helping you become a better version of yourself.
Today we're talking all about how to get into alignment with yourself, how to refresh your energy, because we don't want to be having dusty energy, but also like living your life in alignment is really important. Obviously not always going to be in alignment and that's fine, but it is, you know, like if you're not in it, then it feels like quite hard.
Yeah.
And the longer you're out of alignment, the harder your life is.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going through like a layered conversation of like how to get back in alignment from things you can do right now to bigger things that would take a longer amount of time but are important as well.
Yeah. Because some people as well that listen might not even really know like what alignment is or like the concept of it.
Yeah.
But I suppose like alignment to me means being in line with kind of like the truth of like your heart and your soul and like what like your heart truly wants to do with your life and what feels good for you.
Yeah.
So like being out of alignment is like disregarding that and like shutting down your heart, not listening to your body, and that's when stuff like anxiety kind of arise.
Yeah, I think for me alignment is obviously that, and just kind of like where are you saying yes, where you want to be saying no, things like that, where you're not kind of maybe out and not very boundaried with anyone, maybe not boundaried with yourself either. Like, are you drinking a lot to socialize when you actually don't want to be doing that? Are you eating loads of shit when you actually would rather be eating healthy? Are you not working out? Are you getting sucked into shitty relationships like when you'd rather be on your own but you're a bit scared? Like all these kind of little things like that to me are when you're out of alignment.
Like those like short-term rewards and pleasures over like the long time. And like the long-term feeling of how you want your life to look, you know, settling for the quick fixes, the quick highs.
The dopamine.
Yeah.
And then it all comes crashing down below your dopamine baseline. Yeah. And you're fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll just start off by going into like, because obviously this episode's titled 5 ways to get into alignment and refresh your energy. So like first little way is to lean into stillness, because I think to even know how do I even like, what are the steps I need to take to realign myself, you don't even get to the point where you have answers to that question until you open up space in your life for new thoughts. And that means you have to welcome in moments of stillness into your life, and you can obviously do that in many different ways. Meditation, I think nature's a great way, getting outside for walks and stuff like that, and just kind of slowing down your schedule, maybe, you know, reviewing your social commitments, maybe just dialing back your work slightly if you can, you know, like just basically to create a bit of space, bit of breathing space in your life to let those like answers emerge of what's the next step. That's I think it's the first initial thing you need to do.
Yeah, definitely, because if you're just on 100 miles per hour all the time, you will find that you're just running from whatever might be even making you sad or anxious, and like not checking I can't remember if I brought this up on the podcast the other day about the inbox with meditation.
No.
And I think I was telling my auntie about it. I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about like stillness and meditation, and they were saying like look at your mind as like your email inbox, and like if you're not like quieting down and just having those little moments of stillness to really check in, then your inbox is just going to get overwhelmed with loads of emails that you've not opened. But if like each day you spend those little moments like calming down and being in stillness and checking in, then you're just checking the emails every day. And I thought that's a really good metaphor, because it is stressful when you've got a lot of emails, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, my personal email, well, let's not talk about that. But if you check them every day, then you're not going to get overwhelmed.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And like just know meditation gives you that space to just process thoughts as well, like and get rid of, you know, old ones that don't need to be there anymore, and welcome in like new creative ideas and just kind of clean up the vibe. I've been getting back into meditation in this year of 2023 so far.
That's good. We're back on the vibe.
I'm back on the vibe. I didn't do it for most of last year. It just wasn't important to me anymore, because it depends what season you're in. So I was in a season of, and I still am, but I'm also making space for this now as well, of like hustling, working. Like we were saying in our last episode, we were getting a business off the ground. And also I was really focusing on fitness too. Like, so gym in the morning became the thing that I was always doing. That then I wouldn't carve out that 10 minutes, that's all it is, 5-10 minutes to meditate, because it just wasn't important. And I was just like, go. And I didn't need it. It was absolutely fine. I didn't need it. But because I'd had so much time out of it, not doing it, I've also had like the contrasting experience of such a long time when you are doing it and then not doing it. So I really could see, who am I when I do it? Who am I when I'm not? I like both versions of me regardless, but like I feel better when I do it. Like you clean up your energy more, like you're more intentional about what it is that you want. And I think especially obviously talking all about alignment today, you know, like alignment is about knowing what next step to take as well. And I think that can be really hard sometimes when you know, whereas I feel like all of last year I really knew what the next steps were, and that's all I was focusing on. And we kind of did them. And then now into this year, you come into the new year and there's a lot of possibility ahead. And it's kind of like, it's just been really nice time. I've been really enjoying it. I've been doing it every day. It's been really nice to take that time to like, again, alignment, like it's basically just that time to step back into me and be like, right, what do I want? You know, like where, you know, like, you know, maybe this is a new goal that I'm doing, but like, how do I want to approach this today? Like, where's my energy for it? Do you know what I mean? And I've been using the Melissa Wood Health app because she's got beautiful meditations on there, and it's really, really affordable. And you also obviously get loads of workouts on it as well. But like, she's got like meditation teachers, breathwork teachers and stuff on it now. So it's like a whole range. If anyone's unsure of where to go and meditate, that's my favourite place to go.
Yeah, it's so good, like having an app or something you can go to.
You need to have the space, the place to go, because otherwise it's quite hard to actually put in the habit, I think, when you don't have like a consistent thing where you can just switch it on. Yeah, I know I like this. Boom, let's go. Yeah,
no, definitely. I think if someone's starting out, for sure, it's really good to like have a little hub or something. So definitely go and try that one. But yeah, definitely, like I notice such a difference when I do meditate, but it's like I notice a big difference, but it's also like really subtle.
Yes.
I just noticed that I'm like calmer in like, I was saying it to you the other day, and like, oh my god, I heard a thing the other day, and it was like, apparently you would have heard it, because I think it's a podcast we both listened to. It was saying that your resentment towards yourself or something comes out in the moments where you're like, you can't find your keys, or your clothes get stuck on the door, or like you can't open something. Like that's when apparently that's when the resentment for yourself comes out. And I was like, what the hell? I feel like I'm such a chill person, but one thing that just bugs me is little things like that. You know, like you get something caught or you can't get it, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. And like that's the moments when I notice I'm like, that's like not me speaking. Like I don't like being like that. And I notice that when I meditate, I do that like way less. It's like I'm just not that reactive. Like I hate being like, oh fuck's sake, like it doesn't feel good to me. I hate it. So I noticed I do it less. But yeah, how funny. I was like, oh my gosh. Like obviously I don't resent myself, but I was like, that's so funny, because it's like that's the moment where you think you're not really kind of switched on or aware, but maybe that's the moment where like, what is coming up for you? Like you're not angry at the fact you can't find your keys. What are you actually angry at? But I mean, that's for us all to work out. But yeah, no, I really noticed that small difference with meditating. And I think as well, obviously going to the gym and everything is so nice because you are dedicating that time, but there's something different about dedicating time to stillness and meditation. Like it's just a different vibration. The fact that you're giving yourself that time to not be stimulated by anything, but just be with yourself and your thoughts, I think is just like really special.
Yeah, definitely.
No one else there.
I wanted to sleep better as well, actually. That was the other reason I started doing it, because you know, when like you go to bed at night and you've been go all day, and then you hit your head in the pillow and you're a bit like your brain's just like popping off with all sorts of random stuff, and when you're quite tired it's quite hard to shut it off because you've got less mental control because you're tired. And that like little moments like that, I realised meditation is what stops this. So I was kind of wanting to be more peaceful before bed as well. I don't really have problems with sleeping. Like I've always been quite lucky like that. Normally we'll just go straight to sleep as soon as I hit my head on the pillow. But like there's times where you're just a bit like wired. I just
Yeah,
wanted to
that's
bring
been me the last few nights.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring back a bit of peace pre-bedtime.
Yeah.
But I meditate in the morning and it affects my sleep at night. So, you know, it's even on like, you know, physiological things like that, like sleep and stuff. It's really good for that.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. If people struggle with like insomnia, like one of the best things is meditation, which you wouldn't really think, but... Do you feel like you have been struggling with your mental health recently? If you have, then first of all, sending you a huge hug and loads of love, because honestly, it can get really tough out there. And if you're at the point where you think, I feel like I need professional help, like I want someone to help me understand my mind, my patterns, my behaviours, then we have the perfect solution for you. This podcast is sponsored by a company called BetterHelp, and BetterHelp are a professional online counselling service. BetterHelp is all done online. So what they do is they set you up with a therapist, and you get an app on your phone or your laptop, and you can talk to them over text messages, video calls, or voice calls, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And they also match you with the perfect therapist with whatever you feel like you need support for. So they don't just match you with anyone. You will tell them what you feel like you're struggling with, or maybe what's making you sad, stressed, worried, and they will match you with the perfect person. And then if you are actually matched with someone and you think, I want to focus on something different, I actually want a different therapist, and they will change you for free with no extra charge. BetterHelp is much more affordable than traditional offline counselling. There are no contracts either. You can just do a month if you want to test it out and see if BetterHelp is for you. And BetterHelp are also offering our listeners 10% off your first month of therapy. So if you do want to access this discount and get some professional help, then head to betterhelp.com/finding your feet. That is betterhelp.com/finding your feet.
Another way I think to lean into stillness is to get out in nature. You know, go for your hot girl walks, put the podcast on, or go without anything, and just like be outside. I think the reason that it's like makes you feel still is because nature is still, like, as in there's like a metaphorical like thing with nature, because it obviously it moves very slow, but it still accomplishes each season. Everything's done on the time it needs to be done, but it's like, you know, and when it's in its season, and it's just like, I'm here, this is me, I'm in winter, this is me, I'm in summer, and it is what it is, kind of thing. And it's simple, and like it's also regenerative and like and renewing. That's what nature is. It's always changing. So I think just being in that energy itself is really good for you to get back into alignment for all of those reasons, because you want all of that for your life. You want to accomplish everything but still not be running like a crazy rabbit, you know. I don't know why a rabbit, but crazy rabbit. Like, and you also want to welcome in regeneration and growth always to your life. So being in that energy is amazing, but also I think just have it's a bit of a headspace. It's like you're not on a screen, you're outside, like just it's still, you know. You've got space to think. If you don't like meditating, you don't want to do that, if that doesn't sound appealing to you, then there's other ways to achieve stillness through different activities, like just going for a simple walk. Yeah,
totally. And like I'm not saying the vibration again, but like the vibration of like nature and forests and like that slow, like evergreen kind of energy is so good for the soul. Like I'm trying not to get weird, but I feel like I'm like really having to hold back, but I literally feel like when I walk to a forest, it's like the trees in that want you to be there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all kind of like in flow. And I'm like holding back. So I talk to trees every day.
Well, Abby hugs trees. You go and fucking hug them.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody needs to refresh their energy, just go and hug a tree. And then at least as well, you always have a little laugh at yourself as well.
Yeah.
Because laughter is the best medicine as well.
Yeah.
And like you said, because our brains like aren't like the way we've evolved, we're not used to obviously like staring at screens. Like it's a wonder we don't get like seasick or something, like for all the stuff that's on our phone. You know, like you got TikTok, Instagram, like it's all so much. So like you said, like taking your eyes away from that screen and just looking at something that's like barely moving is so refreshing.
I mean, Andrew Huberman would fucking just have a party at what you're saying right now.
He would.
Because he's always telling people to that you fuck your eyes up when you're like staring at a screen too much, and that, what is it, like every half an hour or something you need to look off into the distance.
Yeah,
something quite consistent. So
the
like
distance.
Yeah, like so if you wherever you like, if you work from home or you work in an office and you stare at a screen quite a lot, just make and to be honest, I don't do this, so I should do this. So I'm saying this for me as well. Like, make a conscious effort to stare off into the distance to strengthen your eyes looking back at long distance, because we spend so much time looking at short distance, like the screen in front of you, that you never, then your eyes get weaker. And I'm sure it does something to your brain as well.
Yeah, I think it does, because that's why I went to the opticians the other day, and yeah, that's what he was saying, because like obviously like 90% or something of our evolution was not like this. So like we've been designed to look in the distance, to look for a threat or whatever, but now we're so used to just looking at what's like literally just 30 centimeters in front of us, and yeah, it's like it's not good for your eyes. Like you need to be focusing, and like that's why I always try and look out my window, and I'm quite lucky that I have like a
you've got
thing.
Like a nice, your desk is like right in front of a nice long field.
So you can actually really look out, and I look at the like the trees right over the other side, just because I remember don't
strengthen those eyes.
Yeah,
but I think the general thing with stillness, obviously you can access it through these different ways, nature, meditation, but it's just to embrace having time of nothing, pretty much. Like if you're someone who gets a bit anxious about maybe not having many plans, or like just having free time, you're always trying to fill it up, you just don't like spending that time with yourself, you're never going to get back into alignment ever, because you're never giving yourself the opportunity to just be with you and think and be with your energy and think about where do you want to be and how do you want to show up. You're always just attaching to everybody else and going along their ride that you never even know what your ride is. So like anybody that's feeling out of alignment and lost, sometimes I think the first barrier is even the fear to just spend some time with yourself. So just don't fear that. Like, what is on the other side of that little tiny bit of fear about being on your own for a bit or whatever it is a greater reward than like what you think you're gonna have to feel to get there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What was it like? I was like bringing these studies but forgetting the numbers, but you would have heard it that like something like, it was like a study where they said, do you want to sit in a room with your own thoughts for an hour, or do you want to do this? And like 80% of them was like, no, I'd rather pay the money than literally sit in a room for an hour. Like so many people are just terrified of like just being in stillness. But if you do practice stillness, then obviously it's not scary. The more you do it. I understand some people, if you suffer with anxiety and stuff, it can be scary to just stop and listen. It can, but maybe it's just putting those little moments in, even if it's just a minute or two a day, and then like building it up.
Definitely.
So our next tip for getting into alignment is getting into your body and listening to your body. And I suppose this is a little bit similar to stillness, but like personally, how this resonates with me is that when you're maybe out of alignment, your body will speak to you maybe before your mind works something out. So your body may have symptoms of anxiety and your mind is literally saying something completely different. But that's why it's so important to spend the time like slowly getting into your body and like compassionately looking at like, why do I feel anxious? Because the only reason you get anxiety is because something feels out of alignment. So like, even though anxiety is horrible in this sense, it's just a signal that maybe something needs to change. And that, I feel like really helps you look at it in a more compassionate way anyway, because it's like it's less scary. It's like, oh, my body's actually just trying to tell me something. Because like for me, I always get anxiety usually in my body first. So I get like, I don't know, a racing heart, maybe like a twitchy eye. There's various things, but I feel it in my body. And even to the point now where like I can use this example. You remember like a month or two ago when I said that guy off Hinge, always pulling in the hinge, literally, do you remember I told you he called me and I could not imagine, I couldn't believe the reaction my body was having to him. Like it's literally just this guy chatted for a day or two. He's like, do you mind if I give you a call? And I was like, yeah, of course. And I went on a walk. It was quite a few months ago actually. And he called me. And I just couldn't. Have I talked about this on the podcast before?
No, you haven't. I don't know.
I always forget, like, if I've told you. Yeah, and I could not believe how much my body had a bad reaction to him. Like, my heart just felt tight, my chest felt tight. And it was just because I was kind of, like, feeding off his energy. And, like, to me, that's a signal that, like, there was something dodgy about him, for sure. Like, my body was just like, no. But maybe in the past, that could have, like, freaked me out. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, why do I feel anxiety? Like, what's wrong with me? Like my head doesn't get it. But like now I just try and think it's just a signal. What is it trying to tell me? I slow down. I think, can I name it? Like if my chest is quite tight, I'm like, what actually is this? Like, am I worried? Am I a little bit sad? Am I just overwhelmed? I think just giving it a little name so you can just identify what it is and then work on like feeling less like that. If it's like, oh, I'm just actually overwhelmed, then how can I maybe take a few things off my schedule? How can I just slow down a little bit just to get everything done? How can I add meditation in so that I don't feel overwhelmed, but I can still get everything done? But yeah, so that's basically about listening to your body and getting in tune with it.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking like into your body, what the hell do you mean I'm always inside my body? Some ways to just slow down and listen to your body. So things can even arise to literally just even take one breath. Like it's that simple to just take one breath, put your hand on your heart and just think like, how do I feel today? Like what is my body trying to tell me? More like intense things, if you really want to kind of like shift the energy, maybe get some answers, are things like breath work, meditation. When I like personally think about getting to my body, it really is that. I think it's just like the stillness, and not trying to so much ignore the symptoms, you know, like, oh no, it's fine, I don't have a racing heart, no I don't, oh this isn't here and I'm just gonna ignore it. More just thinking, okay, this is here and it's fine, it's just a signal. What can I do now to maybe reduce it, because it's slightly annoying, but what's the next step? And this is what's here. Maybe it's just a bit of fear, but I can work through it. You know, rather than just thinking, or like trying to numb it out, something like that.
Yeah. For me, it's just simple, like just like a meditation will bring me right back in. Or like and it's funny because it happens quite instantly, really. Like it takes like 5-10 minutes, really. Like, and you start to just notice feelings inside of yourself that you weren't that feeling, or just feeling of aliveness inside of you as well, if that makes sense. And just a bit more of like a connection to all your parts of you and like your chakras. But I think just like, you know, like you can just keep it so simple. Just put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and just breathe. And just shut your eyes and breathe, or just stare at something and breathe, and that's enough. Doesn't need to be fancy, doesn't need to be crazy, doesn't need someone else to make you be able to do it.
No, not at all.
You know, we all have that time to just go, we all have that power to just go, whoa, what are we saying, you know?
And stuff like body scans as well can be really good.
And
if you are into like meditation, then there's definitely some really cool swanky meditations out there, you know, that can like really like just slowly tune you into your body and like take you down a body scan, and you're like, oh, why do I feel uncomfortable there? Why do I feel pain here? And it's quite interesting because it's like we don't often do that, do we? No. Like we use our bodies as like a little vehicle. We rarely check in and think, where is the pain? Where do I feel a block? Where do I feel energy? And the reason why obviously getting into the body is so important for alignment is because alignment is being in line with your intuition, your intuitive guidance. And it's really hard to tap into your intuition when you're so out of your body and you're not tuned in, because you feel it in your body. And also it's actually really hard to even distinguish between what is intuition and what is like fear or anxiety. So even to be able to like discern between those two is hard enough as it is, let alone just tap into any kind of intuitive feeling or thought if you aren't in your body, you know? Yeah, totally. I think that distinguishing the fear and the intuition is literally so hard. Like, it's so hard, especially when you're feeling anxious, because like your mind's going a bit crazy anyway. So then trying to pinpoint like, is this my intuition or not, is really difficult. And I think sometimes it can actually cause more stress than it's worth. I think maybe even just looking at it as like, I don't know, everything is like these little signals. Do you know what I mean? And thinking like, oh, what can I do with this information that maybe my body's presenting me or my mind? Because I'm like, I honestly like have spent a lot of time thinking, is this my fear? It's my intuition? Like, it's very stressful. Yeah, we have like this little definition for you here, which I do think helps distinguish it. Like when I first read this, I was like, okay, that gives me something to hold on to when you're trying to figure it out. So it says, intuitive thoughts focus on the present. They tend to feel neutral or calm. Anxious thoughts relate to the past or future, and they carry a sense of dread and nervousness. So suppose like it's like your intuition is like those calm whispers of like, no, this is right or this isn't quite right, rather than like a fear. Yeah, so in general, I think that does help in those moments, maybe.
Yeah, I think intuitive self-guidance is so important for living a life true to you and like being in alignment, because that intuitive, like obviously you can have people in your life that know you really well, but no one knows you better than yourself as well. Like obviously you can have blocks of where you can't even see the kind of bullshit that you're getting up to, but you know, like you do know yourself well. And in terms of intuitive guidance, no one else has your intuition for you other than you. So it's like you need to like be listening to that, to be, because it creates your authentic path, which is where you should be living, because that's where you're going to be happiest, 100%. But you don't know what that path is or how to even walk to that path without hearing your intuitive guidance. And that comes from stillness, being in your body, being open to hearing it. If you're running, if you're numbing, if you're doing all these things, you're never going to have enough quietness to even listen.
Yeah.
So like that's like the first thing that you need to do to even get to that place to know what to do next, is just like shut out all the noise.
Yeah.
And I do actually think that other people can tap into your intuition as well.
Yeah.
Because I think we all like have, you know, to go into my spiritual beliefs, but like I believe in energy. I mean, you hear us talk about energy and vibrations and frequencies all the time on this episode. I mean, this podcast, so you probably feel the same. But like I believe in energy and I believe in the vibes. No, but like, I believe in that there's kind of like a protective energy in the world as well. Like that there's just energies. There's good, there's bad. There's good, there's bad. There's energies out there to protect you, and you know they can, depending on what you want to believe and feel, they can come in the forms of like angels, spirit guides, people from your life that have passed over. It can even be a fucking pet that died, or even your pet that's alive. You know, like I just think that, you know, there's vibrations around.
Yeah.
And I think that your intuition is a vibration as well, and it feeds through from, you know, like, well, where do we all come from? Like we're all souls just walking around in a meaty body. You know, that's what we're doing.
What did you call it last time?
Meat stick.
Meat stick.
And you know, like that is at the end of the day. Well, I think that when we die, like our souls don't die. Like there's bits of you everywhere. Anyway. So like your intuition is like being fed to your soul from other energy sources in the world as well, like that energy that made you, where your soul came from, the universe, the vibes. It's getting seriously out there now, but like that's what I think, that other people in your life can tap into that intuitive energy frequency of your intuition. Because I get dreams about like the people closest to me, like, not all of them, but specific ones, like my best friend. Like I will have dreams about her and then tell her shit, and she's like, how'd you fucking know that? What the fuck? Like, are you reading my diary? You know, and I just think sometimes you get those intuitive messages sent to you, or like people around you that are really close to you that have your best interests at heart will get them for you. And it might even be things like, oh, I had this random dream the other night where like you like were in Starbucks, like working on a laptop, and you didn't work in the job that you worked anymore, something like that, something really weird. And actually they had no idea that inside of you've been dreaming about becoming a digital nomad that works in Starbucks. Or like little things like that, or like I don't know, just like even sending you a song or sending you a podcast, just like, I just listened to this, I don't know why, I just thought that you'd like it as well, so I'm just sending it to you.
And that could like change the life.
The podcast could give you the little push that you needed, you know, like, so in terms of your intuition, I think it's an energy, and that other people, without knowing that they're doing it, the people that have your best interest, that are good people in your life, that are close to you, that are in your energy field anyway, because all relationships are an energy exchange at the end of the day. So like they're in your vibes anyway, so they will get little, you know, like just things like that. You know?
Yeah, no, totally. Like people call them like downloads, you know, for like other people.
Yeah.
And I think the more you do work on understanding your own intuition and listening to it, then the more you will get like downloads from people. And you should always like act on them, because sometimes I'll get that where I'll be like thinking of someone and then I'll be like, oh, they're so good at that. God, could you imagine they could do that? And then you just carry on with your day. And it's like, you should just pick up your phone and tell them, because like so many people have so many like little talents, or that's what it is, that you're picking up on their intuition of what they want to do, but they might hold themselves back or like never really fully go for it. But I think if you always just get those little downloads about people and tell them or compliment people, it can make such a difference.
Yeah, exactly. You could change someone's life with one little comment.
Yeah. Okay, so the next thing, which is really, really important, is to be in line with your truth and be in alignment with your truth. And I know I say this a lot, and I feel like you've picked up that. I don't realise I say this a lot, but I must do, because I feel like you've mentioned it a few times.
Yeah, it's one of your catchphrases, along with take the leap before you're ready, but you haven't said that in so long. I think you've retired that one.
Well, yeah, I've noticed that I've started like with these words and I don't realise I'm saying them like it's in.
So it must be like a thing that's always going on in your head, telling yourself to do or something like that.
Yeah. Or like, no, but what I've noticed that because of this course I'm doing, I always say, like, I'll be like on voice notes, like, okay, sending love, and I say it all the time, and then now it just comes so normal that when I'm talking to anyone, I'm like, okay, sending love. Like I voiced note my friend the other day and I was like, okay, sending you love, this like guy, and then I literally pressed send and I was like, that's a little bit weird, I don't know why I said that. Like it was just so weird, and I was like, why did I just say that? It's like, 'cause you don't realise you're saying it. But anyway, there's definitely worse things that could be coming out of my mouth.
Yeah. I'm sure they enjoyed receiving your love, so no stress. Sending love, honey. Love you so much.
Yeah.
TTYL.
I just love you.
Love you so much.
It's so funny. Anyway, so being in line with your truth, to me, is basically kind of like those small daily acts of healing, and healing to be in line with your truth is in standing on your own 2 feet, standing up for yourself, having boundaries, knowing when to say no, healing your wounds, and just like following like your soul's calling and what your heart desires. Because if like, let's say relationship or friendship or something, if your heart is saying this isn't quite right and I deserve better and this doesn't feel right for me, following your intuition and leaving that is being in line with your truth. And like, no one can tell you whether that's right or wrong. Like if you're following your intuition, you physically can't get it wrong because it's your intuition, like you said before. So I think a big part of being in your truth is being surrounded by the right people and the people that feel right for you. And that's not to say that everyone around you should be like good, amazing people. Like, no, you meet people that are shitty for a reason too, as in like they may teach you something, or you might have people in your life that I don't know, are a bit harsh on you or something, but like they're your teachers too. Like everyone's there for a reason, but there may also be people that don't vibrationally match with you and feel out of alignment. The relationships feel hard, they feel draining. And staying in those relationships or friendships is out of alignment. Like it's not your truth, because you don't want to be there. You don't want to be with these people. Like maybe you have a friendship group that every now and again you get roped into events and you moan about it because you don't even want to go. Like, yeah, just don't go. As in like, that's not in alignment for you. It's not what you should be doing. And those actions of getting into your intuition will help you distinguish what is your truth and what isn't.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's all like the process of getting into alignment is layered. It starts with stillness and getting into your body to even hear it. You like getting into your intuition to hear it, and then it's like, okay, right now you know, but are you gonna walk it? Like, yeah, and that's where the truth, the being in your truth comes in, because as you say, when you're standing in your truth, like you're like being honest. Yeah. Like, so you're letting people down, maybe. You're saying no because you mean no. Yeah. Whereas before, maybe you've always been saying yes when you meant no, and that's, you were totally out of alignment because of that. Because, you know, people can live their whole life like being like people pleasers and stuff like that, and it can be the most draining, tiring experience.
Yeah, completely. Because I do think that is like, you know, people are like the pandemic of the world. Like, I think that is the pandemic of the world, is like people not being in line with what feels right for them, not being in their truth, and then it's gone on for so long that they don't even know what's wrong with them anymore. So every week, every weekend, they're going out, numbing themselves, they're working in jobs they don't like, they're just on this hamster wheel because they don't even know what's wrong anymore. But it's like, have they taken the moment to slow down and thought, what does my heart truly want, and like what doesn't feel right for me?
Yeah. And when you like kind of work yourself into a place where you have access to that truth inside of you, then obviously it's easier to stay there and to keep, you know, like you take your bit of your truth cake, slice it off outside of your heart, and you put it out into the world, and you do another little bit and another little bit, and the more that you're there in it and you keep acting on it, like your life's easier.
Yeah.
So it might be hard to get there at first, but then once you're there, just stay there, and you'll have a much better life.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's very hard though if you're not anywhere near that
to
get there, because it can be quite a journey.
Yeah, because it takes like that moment, say it's people pleasing or something, that moment in saying no has been built on maybe 1,000 times you said yes. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's those years and years of patterning that you're undoing. Like, it's not something you can do overnight.
No,
it's definitely something that takes work, and it takes those little moments of bravery. So you've got to go easy on yourself.
100%, and have like pure patience with your journey, like compassion.
Yeah.
I think you'll get to your truth when you're ready to get to your truth as well. And you don't need to try and rush yourself through it, because what's the point? Like you get there when you integrate everything you learn, like, and there's no rush in that. So you just need to be open and accepting, like, that maybe you aren't at all anywhere near the truth of where you want to be in your life. You're nowhere near the honest life you want to be living, the integrity that you want to be in, the alignment that you want to be in, but you're open to getting there. So, you know, it might take you 5 years, might take you 10, could take you 6 months, but it'll take you time, but that's fine. You just have to keep going, and just sort of like every little bit of layer that you kind of peel back, life gets easier and easier. So it's always worth doing. It's better to move forward, and it might take a long time, than to stay where you are because you think it's too much effort.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I think it's easy to feel like ignoring the work and numbing yourself out is easier than doing it, but it's not, if that makes sense. Like a lifetime of numbing yourself and ignoring your heart's desires is a lot more effort than actually just implementing yourself to listen to your truth, which leads perfectly onto this quote that it's from a guy called Corey Muscara.
Big up Corey Muscara on Twitter.
Let's actually just go. Well, he's an author. He wrote Once a Monk. I think his thing came up on my profile the other day, and I was like, oh my god, what a good, like, he's got loads of really good ones.
Oh, right.
So I followed him, and this one came up the other day, and then I shared it on my story, and I couldn't believe how many people it resonated with. Like, people were just obsessed. I mean, and it was good. It was a whole carousel, but I shared two, so I'll just read these two out. He put, the greatest loss we'll ever experience is the life we could have lived if we just let go and trusted that the universe takes care of a surrendered heart. And then the next one is, which is basically what I was just saying there. If you think it's scary to surrender to if you think it's scary to surrender to a deeper truth in you, imagine spending months, years, decades having to disconnect from yourself because it's the only way to dull the pain of being out of alignment. I read that. I know, literally, I read it. I was in the opticians again, and I was like, that is so true. Like, that is kind of what you got to do if you choose to ignore it. You got to dull the pain of being out of alignment, which seems like a lot more effort.
It's giving truth. So we thought we'd finish off the episode with like a quick fire of ways of like how you can basically refresh your energy, because that's what this episode's about as well. Is like refresh your energy, get into alignment. So how do you like to refresh your energy? Like right here, right now, today, what are you going to do? Right here, right now.
Usually I would definitely move. Like, I feel like moving refreshes your energy so much. Probably do like a little dance and like literally like physically shake off the energy. That's probably like my initial thing. And then definitely like drink loads of water. I think when you feel like drained or weird, a lot of time you're just dehydrated. You should drink water. I think like talking to people as well really helps if you're in a funk, because if you're in a bit of a funk and you don't know what to do with it, and then like we said before, you tap into somebody else's vibration, so like people around you can lift you up as well. So just like taking a break, go and have 5 minutes, stroke your pet, talk to someone really helps me.
Yeah, definitely talking to people is a good thing. Yeah, I would do some exercise, shift off that stagnant energy. I would change up my environment. So if I've been in my room for ages, I would, maybe tidy it up, clean it up, make my bed if it's not made.
Changing your bed, I love that.
Yeah, I'd just get out of the room, go somewhere else, go maybe to a coffee shop or something, just change up the environment you're in, because the sort of stale energy can build up in that. I would meditate. I would have a shower and imagine the energy washing off that I want to let go of, like be cleansed, I
love that. Just
because obviously you are actually washing yourself clean, but also like you can mentally imagine it and energetically clean yourself in the shower. I would also fill my mind with something inspiring and positive that's on the new frequency that I want to go into. So if I'm feeling like really like woe is me, I can't do anything, or like, oh, that's not for me, or like I'm shit, or if I feel insecure about something, or I don't feel very confident that day, I will fill myself with something that is the opposite of how I'm feeling. So whether I'm not feeling empowered in business, then I'll listen to a podcast about that will make me feel empowered. I'll listen to someone else's story of struggle, maybe, like that would and how they turn it around and make me inspired. Or if I'm not feeling that confident, maybe I'd listen or go and look at like one of the amazing influencers that's all about that self-loving vibration. Maybe I'd look at Ashley, what's she called? Oh my God, why can't I remember her name?
Ashley Graham.
Yeah. I'd look at her TikTok or something like that, or whatever. And or maybe I'd just listen to like a funny podcast, want to laugh, just get out of your head. So I would basically, I'd read something good, read something inspiring, whatever. But I would try and pour in, because it's like your brain, like if you grow in some weeds of poo-poo, like, plant some flowers of goodness as well. So I'd put some new thoughts into my head from other things, maybe something inspiring on YouTube or whatever. But I think that's and then just like, I think that's the main ways I'd refresh my energy.
Yeah, I think they're all really good tips.
Yeah,
I definitely feel like laughter is like
definitely,
it like raises your vibration so much. I've actually I don't know how I've somehow managed, you don't look at reels that much, do you?
I do sometimes for work purposes, but not really for pleasure, no.
Well, I look at like my reels, but usually like they're always like just people like on beaches and stuff, which I like, but like it's always these like really cool little travel-y things. I don't know why, but lately my algorithm has changed and it's bringing up the funniest things ever. Like I don't know why it's turned into like, like on TikTok every now and again you see really, really funny videos, just totally random. My reels have started doing that. So she sat there the other night, and I don't recommend numbing yourself out with just looking at reels, but honestly I was absolutely howling for like an hour, and I was like, this is like I couldn't have asked for anything else in that moment. I was like, I just needed a bit of a release, and I've just been laughing at the most ridiculous things. It was so good.
Well, so that's what
highly
TikTok
recommend.
is for me. Yeah,
so my TikTok, it will bring up things like that randomly, but then every now and again it'll just bring up the most traumatizing thing, whereas I never see that on reels. So I'm like, this is great. I'm not getting loads of trauma dumping.
You're becoming a reels person.
Yeah, to lift the vibes.
But that is all for now from us on energy refreshing and getting into alignment. I hope you're feeling maybe slightly more aligned just from listening to this episode. That would be good if you are. Yeah,
maybe people bang us on when they're feeling they need an energy refresh. Yeah, no, but what's that like? Oh, when Estella says a frequency hack.
Oh.
Yeah, we need a frequency hack. Bang on our podcast.
Yes.
We'll lift you right up.
Right up to the sky.
Thank you all for listening, guys. Really hope you enjoyed it. And we'd love it if you could come and join. We'd love it if you could come and join us over on social media. We're on Instagram or on TikTok. You can also watch us on YouTube at Finding Your Feet Podcast. And if you love this episode, then please go along and send it to your friends, because it really helps with the growth of the podcast.
Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.